was 6 years old.
That. And the way I usually kind of like to start these off is asking kind of more of a fun question before kind of diving a little more deeper into the fun interviews. So this is kind of the baseline question I've asked a lot of folks, and I'd definitely love to get your insight on this. So if you could choose your favorite home cooked meal, what would you choose?
Carbonara.
Ooh, all right.
That's too easy. It's an easy one for
Yeah.
me.
Good, good. And that's definitely kind of the way I wanted it too. So I definitely had some folks that wanted to sit there for like 30 minutes and they were like, I'm like,
Yeah, like life and death.
right, exactly. But yeah, that sounds really good. Of course I had lunch early too, so starting to get hungry again. Um, so I see you go golfing a lot, which is great. Love it. Not good at it, but I'm not good at it by any means, but we're getting there. So if you could choose your favorite golf course that you've been to so far, what would that course be?
Um, my favorite course, I would say is, um, oh man, that's a tough one. Crosswater in Sun River, Oregon has always been one of my favorites. I love Crosswater and I grew up playing it, but it's like a really nice, prestigious um, champion style course.
Mm,
So I was lucky to grow up down the road from it, and it holds so many like favorite memories. So I would probably choose that one, even though I've got to travel pretty much all over the world and play golf in places like France and like really important courses. But I still just go back home to my favorites.
yeah, for sure. And how was it in France? That sounds incredible.
France was really fun. France golf is super fun. It's I mean, like I feel like once you get on the golf course, you don't really feel like you're in another country because golf is
Mm,
golf at the end of the day. So when you're
yeah,
playing it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this kind of reminds me of this course or this course." And you kind of forget that you're in France. But there's one course I played. I'm so bad. I never remember the names of the courses over there, but there's one that you can see the Eiffel Tower like on one of the holes. So that's really cool. And then I played Le Golf National, which was where they hosted the Ryder Cup that year. So
oh,
that's obviously like a really nice course. But
yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. So if you could go to a course, rather, I'll rephrase the question. So if you could go to a golf course and check it off your bucket list, so basically one that you haven't been to yet, what would that one be?
I'm like barely even a real golfer because I feel like I don't have a bucket list of courses. Just because anywhere I go, I feel like once I'm there, I see the course. I'm like, oh, I want to go play that. So it doesn't really matter, if it's
Oh,
Augusta or Pebble Beach or, go to Scotland to play. Like at
okay.
the end of the day, when I show up to the course, I'm like, oh, it looks so nice out there. I can't wait to go play it. So I don't really know if I had a bucket list. I guess it would be to go to like Scotland and play over there or um, yeah, I don't know, because even like I'm from Oregon and I've never played Bandon Dunes, which is crazy because everyone is like, oh, you live in Oregon? Oh, how's Bandon? I'm like, I don't know, I've never been. So I feel like I need to go play that one just so I can answer people's questions when they ask. But it's always bad weather. I don't want to play in bad weather.
Right. And we're just coming off of our bad season too. So I know so many folks on my end, we're all talking about, wow, we finally get to go and not have to worry about being under 20,000 feet of snow and then buried under rain too.
Yeah.
So I know like I don't know if you've been to, of course I stick with names, but Granite Links here in Massachusetts. Um
Mm-mm.
that's a cool one. I've only been there twice, but it's one of those courses here in Mass that's kind of more on like the higher end in terms of just quality and the way they maintain it. And this course is technically in Quincy, Massachusetts, about like 20 minutes south of Boston, and it's set up on a hill, so you still can see the whole city skyline. And like the planes that are going into the Boston airport, like flying right over your head and everything. Um, so yeah, I've done that one twice, and that's probably best one I've been to. Because to your point, like, there's so many courses I do wanna go to, but of course, like, at the end of the day, no matter which course I go to, it's like, this is still great at the end of the day. We're out here, it's fun, it's a great time, getting the experience,
Yeah.
which is the
Yeah.
most important part at the end of the day too, so,
Yeah, that's
um,
definitely how I see it as well. Whatever
yeah.
course you're at.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that a lot because I know even a lot of folks were like, "Oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it." I'm like, "Well, it's just having fun at the end of the day and enjoying what's going on." That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when it comes to the game itself, if you could have one club in your bag, what would you play with?
Well, my favorite club is my driver, but obviously I wouldn't wanna play a whole round with just my driver. So, I mean, if I'm, like, trying to score, I would probably pick something like a 6 iron and just play an
Right?
entire round with a 6 iron.
Yeah, that's cool. And I do the same, probably 6 or 7, um, because even with this question, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, oh, do I say if I choose your favorite? But I've also seen a lot of times where folks will try to do just one club just to do it for fun or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And I've tried it a couple times, of course, that made me go from bad to worse. Um, but yeah, no, thank you for that. That's cool. So to kind of circle back to, I like your Red Sox hat.
Thank you.
I say being an usher there, I'm like, I've gotta rock with however way we can. So with you being a Red Sox fan, assuming you have the hat on, so figured I'd make the assumption. How do you think they'll be this season? Just go off on a little side note here for a second.
I mean, I may be biased, but it's our season. It's our season every
Yeah,
season, if you ask me, but this
yeah.
season, it's our season.
Yeah, I agree. I can personally attest there is a lot of excitement. I was hanging out with some of the folks in the front office on Saturday, and they're excited. Um, so they were saying the same thing. They had high confidence. So and I heard from a lot of folks I know over there yesterday. That yesterday was very exciting. So
Yeah.
of course, I think we lost. I think the score was like 10-9.
It was a good
Um,
game.
yeah, yeah, and of course I had to miss it. So I'm like, okay, I've got to.
Me too.
Yeah. So
Me
now I'm
too.
like, I've got to make sure I'm actually there tomorrow, or at least pay somewhat attention to it anyway. Um, so yeah, no, it feels good that that's back in swing too, making the spring a little more known, which is nice. And so, I think it's my potentially my last question, unless I think of another one. But to kind of start finalizing everything, for folks who want to get into golf, have never picked up a club, and were thinking of getting into golf, were thinking of just trying. What would your biggest piece of advice be for folks just wanting to get into it?
I would say, especially with like women, I feel like it's hard for women to get into golf because it's kind of intimidating. There's a lot of rules around golf, like dress code, and when you show up to the course, it's just mostly all men. So I think specifically for women, I would say not to worry about like most of those other things, like your clothes, what you wear, just put on a sports outfit and whatever you're going to wear to the gym will be just fine to go to a public range. I
Okay.
always encourage everybody to start on the range first and then, like, don't just go straight out to the course in the middle of the day and go try to play 18 holes. I
Mm,
think the best way to learn golf is to, like, try and get comfortable on the range, like, going a few times, even going by yourself, and then when you go play your first round, only play 9 holes, like, in the afternoon. The
mm,
afternoon golf is usually way more chill, there's not as many people out there, like, people are coming from work, it's just way more casual, so I think playing in the afternoon and only playing 9 is way more feasible than, like, trying to go out in the morning, play 18 holes, keep pace of play going when you're just a beginner, so
sure.
there's no rule saying you have to play 18 holes. A lot of people think that you have to, and
Right.
you don't. So that's my best advice.
Yeah, and that's great, and that's so true on every face of it, and it's basically like, trying to learn how to ski and then saying, "Hey, this is your first time, go down the mountain."
Yeah,
Right. That's
yeah.
and that was kind of my experience, I'm not gonna lie, but Uh, I've, gotten a little bit better since then because I had no way to go but down. Um, uh, but, it's definitely so true because even when I was getting into it, it was definitely that intimidation factor of like, okay, there's just this massive list of things, and we gotta make sure, I don't get whacked in the head with a club because somebody got mad. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, and that's so true is like just getting into it, it can be what you make of it, and it can be a lot of if you make it a lot of fun, it can be a lot of fun, which is great. And
yeah.
I definitely appreciate the answer, 100%. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, and everybody needs to remember that, like, there are going to be grumpy people on the course and people who, like, tell you what to do or whatever. But at the end of the day, everybody was a beginner at one time. So, if you run into one of those people, just try not to take it to heart. But yeah, I would say, like, it's a lot less intimidating once you get out there.
All right. Oh, for sure, for sure, and I like that. I've been basically playing golf ever since I can remember, and that's just a part of it. It's just learning to just go with the flow. That's but yeah, and I think that's all the questions I have for the time being.
Okay.
Nothing else came to mind. And again, I definitely want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's definitely greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for having me.